Hey, and welcome back to Real Deal Teacher. I know I've been away for a bit. I was coaching basketball, so the season's over. I had progress reports to do, and I also had interviews. I had a week of interviews till 8:30, so it kept me a little bit busy. So last time, and this is going to be part two of what I did last time about before you become a teacher, these are things you need to consider. You need to consider the long hours. You'll have to work very, very hard. You'll have to have a lot of patience. So we talked about taking things home on the weekend, taking things home at night, coming in early sometimes if you're a coach, staying late if you're a coach, staying late to help kids that are having trouble, staying late to do things in your classroom. So there are a lot of extra responsibilities that people are unaware of. So if you're not willing to put in a lot of time for this job, it's not a good choice for you. Patience is another issue we talked about. You need to have a ton of patience, not just with the kids, also with the parents. There can be some very, very demanding parents that they expect a lot. They think about teaching as it was years ago. They don't realize that things have changed. We have a new policy of inclusivity where everyone and anyone can be in the classroom at any given time. And that was not always the case when a lot of the parents of today were growing up. So we're dealing with a very different classroom. The makeup of the classroom, the dynamic is very different. So you need to have a lot of patience and you need to be willing to communicate clearly. You need to have very good communication skills so that you can communicate some of these changes and some of what you're dealing with to some of the parents when some of the things they're asking you maybe aren't realistic in a situation where you're dealing with 20 to 30 children, and they're thinking of it, if they have a special needs kid in particular, they're thinking of what that child might get at home with them, or with a therapist in a private session, or with other people that work with them in a small group or one-on-one setting. That's not always possible to do some of those things within the classroom. So we need to be able to be a good communicator so that parents understand what's feasible and what isn't feasible within a classroom setting, while trying to meet the kids' needs as best as you can. The other thing you need to consider before becoming a teacher is the fact that you're going to take a lot of crap. I don't know how else to put it, but you're going to be pooped on by the media. They love to give miscommunication, give information that isn't correct. It's partially correct, it's a half-truth, and you're going to have to answer for that. There will be people that will call you out on it at a dinner party. So if you're not having a bit of a thick skin or someone that can communicate clearly and give a calm, clear answer as to why the information they're saying is incorrect or it's a partial truth, then you probably shouldn't be a teacher, because you're going to be hearing a lot of things about you that aren't favorable out in the street, at dinner parties, and in the media. So if you don't have that thick skin to know that I'm doing what I'm doing and I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm working hard, if you're not that kind of person, you shouldn't be a teacher. The other time I spoke about the type of partner you may need to have, and I think I didn't explain that very well. I'm not saying that if you're not that kind of person, you shouldn't be a teacher. I'm saying that you should be very careful in the type of partner you pick if you're a teacher. It's going to have to be someone that understands the stress of the job. There is a big emotional toll because often we're being in charge of a lot of very challenging students. I'm going to put that politely. There are times when we are actually what would be considered verbal and physical abuse in other jobs. That happens. So your spouse is going to be coming home, if you're the spouse of the teacher, being very tired some days, feeling very defeated and battered, exhausted, working the long hours. You might not always be number one at any given time, especially during report card time. Doesn't mean you're never number one, but you have to be willing to sometimes put that other person first, as well as I'm sure they're going to put you first when you need it as well. But a lot of people, since most teachers tend to be female and they're married to men in many cases, sometimes women too, but if you are that other person, that spouse, male or female, you have to be willing to know that what they're doing takes a big toll on them. You can't expect them to do double duty at home. You'll need to pitch in. So if you are a spouse of a teacher, please listen to this, please pitch in. They cannot do their job, which to me is like a job and a half, and then come home and do another job, cooking, cleaning, looking after kids, and ironing and everything else. They just can't. They'll need you to pitch in. So if you're a teacher, choose your spouse carefully. Make sure you're patient. Make sure you're willing to do long hours. Make sure you have a thick skin. You're a clear communicator. And I don't know, I'm sure there's 1,000 other things you should consider, but those are some of the things you really need to think long and hard about before you become a teacher. It's not all vacations and pensions, okay? That's part of it, but it won't get you through 30 years, okay? It just won't. So people that think it will, do my job for a month, and I'm sure you'll be running to get some prescription drugs pretty soon. That's all I'm gonna say. And please look at the back because my friend did an awesome job. Props for her, great job. And love you all. Hope I'm feeling some love back, and happy holidays.